Hey, Peter, do you want to hear some trivia?
Oh, mate, I love a good game of trivia.
Guess what happens when a chook and two pelicans get together?
What's that, mate?
A clucking good time. That's right, you pelicans. The wobbly chook has jumped on board, keeping the bird presence strong. Whether you like a pale ale, brown ale, IPA, or a lager, the wobbly chook has you catered. Crafted from Yamba's finest chooks.
Better still, Mick, how do we get some wobbly chook?
That's easy, P2. Jump online at www.wobblychookbrewingco.com or pop into 26 Cole Street in the heart of Yamba.
And have a clucking good time.
Cluck out.
Cuckoo! Always remember, don't be a mud gudgeon and drink responsibly.
Welcome back to another episode of the Two Pelicans podcast. So you would have just missed that.
G'day, you Pelicans.
Here he was. You were sort of hung up on his
Go and have a good time with her a bit later on.
Pelicans landing in 3, 2, 1.
All right. Welcome back to the Two Pelicans podcast. I'm Mick.
I'm Bo.
And we are the Two Pelicans here once again to make fishing great again. One cast, one throw, one yarn at a time. And look, every week we do this on Wednesday in Grafton. And look, last week you would have heard that it was hailing. Today it's been raining. It just seems to be the trend for the year. But anyhow, we just got to keep plugging on through. And obviously off to the insurance assessors for some house and car damage from last week. But other than that, we're fighting fit, aren't we?
Yeah, no, that's it. And it must be a Bass Electric comp coming up with this weather. So, yes.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get that coming up soon.
But, I guess, what have you been up to this week, mate?
Just prep for that.
Yeah.
Just pretty much getting ready for that, getting the boat ready. But then I've been playing, as you would have seen walking in, there's foam shit everywhere on the front yard. And I'm having a good time scraping at the moment.
Right. You haven't found any tricks?
No, I went and saw the guys at local paint shop in Grafton and pretty much cried to them. And he got me some special stuff in, and it makes the job does make the job a bit easy. Look, there's no bullshit around it. It's still a shit of a job, but
a little bit easier.
This spray that he's got me, takes the adhesive off nicely, and so the bits that I have done are coming along nice, and in probably 4 weeks I'll have it done.
Righto. Well, that sounds like a fun job, but in your pain, I'm just going to crack a chook.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have a chook too.
Shout out to the Wobbly Chook, keeping us hydrated as we bring these podcasts to you. Like I said, as you'll hear in the ads at the start there, they're down in Yamba. Go check them out. Have a feed, have a chook, and have a bloody clucking good time. So make sure you get down there and support the crew.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm actually going to be cooking with some of these in the coming weeks. So
cooking with them.
Yeah, we'll let that.
Okay.
I'll let that out of the bag when I'll bring it in for you on Wednesday.
A
couple of Wednesdays.
Brushy?
Yeah, out at Brushy.
Righto.
Out at Brushy, we'll have a little wobbly chook.
Yeah.
Wobbly chook pie special. But a couple of Wednesdays when I do make it, I'll bring one in, and you can.
I feel like I know what it's going to be. Anyhow, we'll see how we go.
Yeah, no, it'll be a banger.
Yeah. I guess, what did I do for the weekend? I had some time out. I just generally had some time out. I would have loved to fish Sunday in the Clarence Valley Sports Fishing brim round there. I just, if I was going to do it, I was only going to do it with my daughter. Unfortunately, her netball schedule goes for about 6 hours on a Saturday. She hurt her foot and was pretty much cooked. And I thought it was just good for her to have a bit of a layup there. And we had a pretty quiet day on the Sunday, done a few chores around home. Threw my hand at pickleball.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. How'd that go?
I actually...
it looks like an interesting sport.
I actually didn't mind it, Once you sort of get into it and sort of play on the proper size, don't get me wrong, we've got some paddles and that at home. But
in the bedroom or in the shed?
50 Shades of Grey. But we definitely, I enjoyed it. I sort of didn't mind it. A little bit sore the next day because I'm pretty much an athlete, as you're aware. But it was sort of good and really just work.
I realize as you get older, the stretching before and after is really important.
Yeah. I think
when you're 18. fine.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
as the years come on, that
And some of you will laugh at this because in the double header down at Foster, I did find myself stretching a little bit after about the 4th or 5th day.
Yeah.
Jane Fonda workouts.
Yeah, so no, because on Monday I had to take the young fella to he wanted to try out for basketball, so we went to the PCYC.
Yep.
And I saw the paddleball stuff. I actually picked
okay.
up a racket and I was like, oh
Okay.
yeah,
There might be a championship going on here.
Yeah, brushy versus Lawrence paddleball classic. Here we go.
Dear, look, as always, or what we've sort of put onto this show of late is we've always got P2 flapping around, and this week's no different. So we're just about to put on his weekly up.
How are we, boys? P2 here, the weekly wisdom. I got a ball terror of a yarn here for you. It'll probably blow out the 2 minutes, but that's all right. I don't give a fuck about you turkeys.
Yep.
You Pelicans. Right, so we're up there at 1770, and excuse me, the Friday night, we're like, you know what, we've had a great time. We'll go turn a bit of one on at the pub. We'll go and have a feed and sink a heap of cans. So we've rocked up there. And the pool table was pretty well swamped, a couple of pool tables there, and we waited our turn and jumped on a pool table, and we started getting stuck into our work. And this young guy, I won't say his name, but this young guy there came over and started having a yarn to us, and lovely local fella, bit of a big unit, and he said to me, "Oh, do you want to hear me yarn?" And I went, "Yeah, man, I love a good yarn. Hit me with your yarn." And he goes, "Oh, went hunting the other day and shot a pig, and it ricocheted with me 243, and it's come back and shot me in the leg. Have a look at this." And anyway, he's pulled his leg up. He's got this massive hole. Like, you can tell it's only a few weeks old. Big, fresh wound right in the side of his leg. Anyway, I'm like, "Oh, there's no exit wound, mate." And he's like, "Oh, nah, it got stuck in the bone." And then he's telling this big yarn. Anyway, throughout the course of the night, I didn't bite. Hey, I've been around firearms enough and hunting enough. I didn't buy it. I was like, I reckon they're like been playing Russian roulette or some shit in the bush and it's gone bad. But I wasn't buying the ricochet story. Anyway, I hit him up a few times. I'm like, "Man, I'm not buying that." He's like, no, definitely happened. Anyway, time's passed and I'm in the toilet there next to me mate and I'm having a yarn. I said, "Oh, I'm not buying old mate's yarn, about shooting himself." And he goes, "Nah, you dickhead." He goes, "He's fucking pulling your leg." He goes, "Old mate had like some mad big like staph infection and he got infected in some lump in his leg and he had that like chopped out." And he's like, "He's just playing you." And I went, "Yeah, right." All right. Well, now the shoes on the other foot, we're just going to go full bloody JoJo mode on this fella. So all in jest, of course. So we've gone out there and we're having a yarn to him again. And I reached up. He was a bit of a tall fella. I reached up and put my arm around his neck and I said, "Hey, mate," I said, "look, you can drop the act." And he goes, what do you mean, mate? What do you mean? What act? I said, "Mate, look," I said, "I'm one of Queensland's top orthopaedic surgeons." I said, "Mate, I know that's not a gunshot wound. I know 100%. You've had staph in that leg. Like, look at the triggers out the side here." And I'm pointing at it and I'm saying, "Oh, mate, that looks like a 12 mil hole. Like, that looks like about 2 weeks of gestation of staph." And like, I'm full plate, old mate. And he's like, "Holy shit, like, what are the chances of running into a surgeon here at the pub?" Anyway, let it go on for a couple of hours or whatever. And we had a good chuckle about it. And old mate still thinks I'm some surgeon, eh? And anyway, at the end of the night, he was getting ready to go. And I went over to him and I said, "Hey, mate," I said, "you've learnt a valuable lesson tonight." And he goes, What lesson? What's that, mate?" And I said, "Never bullshit a bullshitter." And he's got this big grin on his face and he's like, "You're not a surgeon, eh?" I said, "Fuck no, mate. I was just a surgeon's asshole." So yeah, a bit of fun, good yarn that one, and shared out the 1770.
That's gold.
Mate, that was some of your best work and well played too. Well played. Like, just not believing him and actually just digging a little bit deeper, doing a bit of investigative work to find out that he was bullshitting you. So, pretty good. Well done, P2. Love your work.
P2 there for a bit of sandpaper, just grinding the old stuff out.
Working with wood and stuff. Same thing.
I bet you that unit had a smell about him too.
Oh, tell you what. Hey, look, while we're going in the way of yarns, I have another one here. Yeah, this person, I haven't heard from this bloke for a while. I thought he died, but obviously he's back and he sent something in to the two Pelicans. Here we go.
Good afternoon, Tim and Mike Bailey. Your weather reporting on the last potty was outstanding. Don't give up your day job. Anyway, the Yamba Yabbie's coming to you live from Gunnedah. Just keeping the wheels of agriculture turning in Australia as usual. Anyway, my boat's been sitting in the front yard like a garden ornament for weeks because it won't stop raining here in northern New South Wales. And plus, this potty needs a bit of colour because you blokes can't organise a guest. What's the best new bit of tech I should be bolting on the old Renegade during this downtime? Should I be spending heaps of cash or being a cheap flog like the Ginger Ninja who's still in love with his water snake? It's not the only snake he's in love with. Anyway, let me know your thoughts.
Oh, righto. Mate, no technology is going to help you to start with. I just want to be clear with that. But look, if we're talking about
Electric
motors, well, I've been happy with my Kraken. I've had that now for just under 12 months. I haven't missed a beat with that. Responsive, quick, and can sort of deck it out any sort of particular way that you want with live scope. I think that's the best thing. You're not running around with a second pole. But look, failing all that, all the other brands are out there. I'm not going to get into that. But I mean, Minn Kota's it's been around for years, and then Lowrance has got some stuff out. So.
Yeah, I bash around with 12 volt and a 24 Minn Kota, and I flog it.
Yep.
I don't have a problem, but I do love the Garmins as well.
Yeah.
I've been on a few boats with them, so it's really. Do you want to spend?
It depends what you want to.
3.5. Do you want to spend about 5? Is that a Garmin?
Yeah. Now knowing the Yamba Yabbie and knowing his boat, I just think you should just get a second sounder and an electric motor. You'll be right, mate. You got heaps of cash now working for the farmers and that, mate. They've got heaps of money, haven't they? So
Eagle 9 lives are pretty cool.
Yeah.
$1,500 and it gives you a bit of live.
Yeah. So you just, mate, you got all the money in the world now. So spend it up heaps. But I think I might have seen the Ginger Ninja out on the water last Saturday. So he's definitely got one up on you, mate. Yeah, I don't know where you've been. Obviously, you've been all around the countryside because you're never at home. And one day I'll catch up with you.
Yeah. Hopefully on the water.
Hopefully in the bar. That guy on the Ginger Ninja burned pretty quick, I can tell you. All right, so I think we just might move into the news because we've got a guest today. After last week.
I don't know. With this weather, anything could bloody happen here.
Last week, it all just happened. But anyhow, here we go.
All right, so first off, we'll jump into QFFT, and they were off to Maroon for their singles round.
Okay.
Shout out to the top 3. Brennan Thorne again, 4.65 kilos, mate. This kid is on fire.
He's been killing it this year.
Absolutely killing it.
Yep.
If he's not up there for AOY, I'll be very surprised. Second place, Mark McKay going 3.56 kilos, and John O'Bale going 3.38 kilos. Yeah.
The Mad Dancer.
Yep. Loves a bit of karaoke too, doesn't he? I think. So that was the top 3 out there at Maroon. Also, the Bassman Big Bass went to Braden for a 1.74 kilo fish out of Maroon. Great fish from Maroon.
Yeah.
Banged up on a hide up 77, I think he was throwing. So, up there with the jerk baits again. I think he was chasing up there in the shadows of the trees and that.
Yeah.
So, another great weekend for QFFT up there. Back down home for our local round, Clarence Valley Sports Fishing Club. We had what I think will probably be our last brim round.
The last brim until when they do, I guess,
Christmas.
the dual thing at Christmas.
Yeah. And that. Yep, thank God for that.
Well, here we go. Bass man here.
No, it's about time getting ready for bass times. But anyway, so the last event for Clarence Valley for the brim round, first place went to James and Dion with a very impressive 3.515
That's pretty good this time,
Mate, we fucked up. we didn't go fishing and the bags came in. I think down to like 7th place was like in 3 kilos.
Yeah.
Matty fishing by himself.
Fin
Very,
dog.
very impressive with a 3.46 and also taking out Big Brim of a 1.13.
Yeah, nice. Well done, Fin
Well
dog.
done, mate. And Sweet Chili Philly and Aaron.
Aaron, the boys, the lads. What a team. I like this as a team.
I know. These two do pretty well when they team up together.
I reckon this would have been a good few hours on the boat with these two, I'd say.
Until the boat shit itself.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, we boys had battery troubles. And
no.
Thank God for Goffy and Tice saving the day. But anyway, the boys were in the 3 kilos as well with 3.295. So well done, boys. And yeah, Sweet Chili Philly was smashing them on the old
S-tackle.
S-tackle fishtail minnows. So he's really loving.
Well done, buddy.
Loving that at the moment. I think they had 16 boats.
Nice.
The brushy limit went down to 13th place for the guys. And look, 13th place was still 2.485. Impressive bag.
Yep.
Young Sonny for the juniors took out Junior Big Brim for 640 grams. So
well done,
that's
Sonny.
That's a cracker.
Yeah.
So look, all in all, Clarence Valley Sports Fishing Club
Sonny, is that Swano's? No, someone else's? I don't know.
Gavin? Gavin's boy.
Gavin's boy. Okay.
Well done. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't know. We all know how good my journalistic skills are going. Like I said, we've got the Bass Electrics this weekend.
Yep.
So on the weekend when this drops, I'll be up at beautiful Mugra. Up there chasing.
Mates, we might. I'll get some shirts so you take up so you can get rid of a couple.
Yeah.
And to you Pelicans out there, if you want some shirts, send us a message, mate. We've got one there. Look, we might just do a reel in a couple of weeks. I might try and find some models or something to advertise these a bit. But look, buy one of them, help us out, support the show. We're all about it.
Father's Day's coming up.
Father's Day. There you go. Perfect.
There you go. Awesome. Yep. As I was, Bass Electrics this weekend, proudly sponsored by Matt Fraser, Bramble Lures. Very excited about this round. I think I've already got 38 competitors. This is on the Wednesday already for this round.
Wow, that is a big turn.
And look, that's not even with my name down on there because I don't register. I just rock up. I don't have to register. I rock up. Look, I'll be very surprised if by
might crack 40.
Yeah, by Friday at briefing, there's 40 there. So
that's a good turnout.
Yeah,
well done.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Pre-fish Friday. Comp Saturday, Dash for Cash Sunday.
Yeah.
And a couple of cool videos out. Our boy P2 has been dropping the old workshop videos.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for funny little cool videos to go watch that one. The Rapala boys dropped a nice little bass special last night with bass season coming up. I'm pretty pumped about it. And anyone that's interested in bass fishing or already loves bass fishing, there's some great tips on there. Even I learned a few things. We've got
someone as green as me probably should get on and have a look by the sounds of that.
Yeah, no, you had Mickey Johnson there talking about how good he is being a jerk baiter, master jerk baiter. And that Langers was on there as well, doing some deep crank stuff there with Mitch Petty, and we all know how great Petty is with long line and DT20s and that. So jump on, watch that.
Very good, mate.
And so that's pretty much my news. We talked about the shirts.
Yes.
And that, so
that's it. Mate, I don't really have much else to say. So I'm going to try and get our guest on. Wish me luck. So here we go. Bear with me. Oh, what's going on there? Hey, P2.
Hey, mate, what's up?
Mate, now that I've got this boat here and I've got the electronics on the way, I'm going to need some fishing gear.
Mate, you can't look flash in that new rig without some new fancy fishing gear.
I know.
Mate, I can only recommend one thing. I would head over to the Dire Australia website, mate, and make yourself a little bit of a wish list and then head into your local tackle store and see if those legends can get it in. Because if there's one thing I know, mate, Dire Australia, they have it all. Whether you want a brand new rod, a nice new shiny reel, or some new line to go on it, then you're going to need some tackle, of course. They have it all. Dire Australia is your one-stop shop, and the big supporters here, the Two Pelicans podcast.
Hey, good.
Good, mate. It's Mick here.
Hey, Mick, how are you?
Good, mate. And you're on the 2 Pelicans, mate. How you going?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just going to shut the roller door a bit.
No, you're right. We called you a little bit early, so while you're doing that, I'll explain. I'll explain that. We're going to call you a little bit later on, but things were moving a little bit ahead, so I just wasn't quite sure if we could have a quick yarn to you now.
I'm right to go now.
Excellent.
I just got a diagram. I'm trying to lock him outside so he can work on the boat outside.
You tell us when you're right to go.
I'm right to go.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. Look, Rob, thank you for joining the show today. We thought it was probably a timely sort of thing to reach out to you to have a bit of a yarn to you about, obviously, the success of your son, Tommy. And I guess sort of tell a bit of a story about how this has all come about from day one. So, where did, what was it like having young Tommy growing up? I think I've seen somewhere in listening to Tommy speak that, you were quite influential in taking him out fishing at quite a young age.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a long story, so bear with me.
So,
so when Tommy was about 6 years old, I used to take him out fishing all the time, and he caught his first bream and all that sort of stuff, and he was pretty hooked from day one, and I had a game fishing charter business, and with that I started doing barra fishing charters because the weather would blow us out, and then we'd go up to Lake Mondrian and we'd fish up there. And so Tommy, although he got seasick, we used to take him out in the game boat. So he caught his first marlin when he was 6, I think.
Wow.
So he had a bit of a good introduction into fishing with that. But he was always catching bream around the wharf while we're cleaning the boat and all that sort of stuff. And he's always been a big lover of animals, and he's really a lover of fish. Like when we used to catch fish, he used to like run his fingers over them and feel them and look at their eyes, and he'd go, "Hey, Dad, look at the way the fins fold in on the tuna," and all this sort of stuff. And he was a mad drawer, so he just started drawing fish, and he just lived and breathed it from a young age. And his headmaster at school used to say, "Oh, where's Tommy today?" And where was Tommy yesterday? And I'd say, "Oh, look, I took him out fishing." He said, "Oh, don't worry, he'll learn more with you than he will with us anyway." So, but he used to come back with bruises on his back from where he was trying to catch these monster GTs and all this sort of stuff. It was just crazy. And, he just had this overwhelming passion. And then he got in, like he was into lures and flies and started making his own flies. And then he was hooked on these Rapala lures at a very young age. And because he was a mad drawer, he started drawing the lures, and he'd make these different colours, and he'd go, "Dad, do you reckon we can send this to Rapala?" Like he's 8 years of age, and we're, "What do you think of this colour? If they made these colours, they'd be a lot better," and all this sort of stuff. It just perpetuated. And then we got this Wii game, which was absolutely bizarre. This Wii game was, I think, I don't know, it was Rapala again.
Yeah,
I think it was.
I think it was.
I think I know the game you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, and they had guys like Dick Weinberger, and you could choose your boat, and then you could have, different rods and different lures for different applications. And there are actual lakes in America. So he was into that. And, he used to go, "Oh, Dad, I just want to get into this tournament fishing." So he's totally obsessed with tournament fishing.
And just before you keep going there, so when he got stuck into the idea of tournament fishing and then potentially seeing it in the States, what age was that roughly?
10.
Great.
So he was hooked on that, and and the ABC Barra Tour and the whole, what was it, the AFC back then.
Yes.
And I used to do the ABC Barra Tour, but we used to treat it like it was a little bit of a drinky session more than anything, and just used to have a good time.
Yeah, I think still some people do, don't they?
I think so. Anyway, so we, I think he was about 12, and I said to Steve Morgan, I said, can Tommy go on the fishing, like on the ABT? He might have been a bit older, and he let him go. And I remember Mick Conley was in the next room where we were staying at the Sweaty Palms Motel in Proserpine, and Mick was, talking to him, and, Tommy's going all over his mate. Oh, what's this lure for? What's that for? And what's all this, like a little Carl Jockerson. And he went out and he outfished Mick the next day. Mick didn't want to talk to him. Yeah. So he was, and the other thing was, one of my mates lent me this Steve's rod, and Steve's reel, sorry, and this Loomis rod. So it was, quite an expensive little setup. And Tommy was using that. First fish he got, pulled the rod straight out of his hands, went in the drink. Yeah. And I said, Tommy, you going in? So he went in and he caught it. He got that and he got the fish. So he was
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Thank God for cork handles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've seen this addiction, obviously, at a young age. As a father, and when I think your son, whether it's fishing or whatever, they want to go play basketball in the States or whatever. But as a father, when you sort of seen this unfolding, like, what were your thoughts with this as you're sort of realising that he's just so into this?
I was thinking I should get him into golf because there's more money.
We had Byron on the other day, obviously on our podcast, and his young fella's a bit of a golfer, so he's obviously gone down that track a little bit. But anyhow, continue on with Tommy, and so you sort of thought, okay, this could be happening, or what were you thinking at that time?
Yeah, so I'll remind you. Can you remind me later just to tell you a little story about Byron, because I've got a little story to tell.
Yeah, that's all right. We like stories about Byron.
We like that.
Yeah, so one of the main things that I first found with Tommy, we'd go out, like every kid, 10 years of age, you take him out the boat for 12 hours on Lake Mondrian, and they're exhausted, going in for a swim to cool down, and it's hot, and in those days you'd be throwing bloody B-52s, and if you had a really good day, you'd catch 3 or 4, and and he'd sit down and he'd go, "Oh, it's so hot, Dad," and this, and every time he'd sit down, I'd catch a fish. And I said to him, "Mate, you should sit down more often." Because I said, if you're watching, I'm catching more fish. Every time you sit down, I catch a fish. And I said, mate, if you want to catch fish, you've got to put in the effort.
Yeah.
And you've got to work hard. So he developed a good work ethic earlier on. So he's not afraid to cast for 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's a piece of cake for him. So from there, he went on, and he was counting the amount of barra that he caught. And he, I think he got up to about 60 and lost count. Like we went on these little ridiculous sorties where we'd go from Mondrian to Wonga. We'd go and fish the power station at the back of Gladstone. Then we'd go up to Prossie or Rocky. We go and fish the Rocky River and all that sort of stuff, the Fitzroy River and Rocky. And, he was just totally hooked and totally obsessed and got better every time. And, he got inducted into the football team at school, and he's not really into it. He was into the soccer team come along, and he wasn't into that.
Yeah.
And every school holiday, ridiculously, and much to his mother's disgust, I used to drop him up the Lake Mondrian in the Skeeter.
Yeah,
which was about 14 years of age.
Yeah, so just with that, as he was growing up, it was quite a lot of the sports that he put his hand to, he was quite good at it.
Yeah, but he didn't. He's a very sensitive, gentle person.
Yeah.
So, he used to go and tackle someone on the football field and go, "Mate, are you all right?" Whereas I was exactly the opposite. I go, "Fucking kicking while he's down." So he's got this beautiful, gentle nature about him, and he doesn't have a large ego, which I think helps him in his tournament fishing. He's such an easygoing guy, and he was good at school, but he had no interest other than fishing. Like, you could ask Tommy, who's the Prime Minister of Australia, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
You know, if you say a 3-syllable word, he'll go, "What's that word mean?"
Yeah,
So
and I think that's right with Tommy. We had him on the show about 12 months ago, actually, when AFTA was on, and his demeanour is quite pleasant and nurturing and pretty laid back sort of guy, and everything that he sort of does. I don't know what it's like behind the scenes, but when I've seen him some ABT stuff and then in other things, he seems quite laid back. Is that who Tommy is?
Yeah, that is him.
Yeah.
So under the pressure of ABTs and that sort of stuff, if we weren't catching fish, he would just become a little bit more focused.
Yep.
He wouldn't stress at all. So and that's why he's such a good tournament angler, really.
Yeah. I think that's it's
no
get in
ego.
your head, can't it? And if you're sort of relaxed and become focused in them times, then success will probably follow.
Like you can say to Tommy, "Oh, look, these guys were catching them over here the other week," and he'll go, "No, I want to go and find my own fish."
Yeah.
So that's the way he thinks. He doesn't actually think, "Oh shit, I should get onto that spot before they do."
Yeah.
He doesn't think like that at all.
Yeah.
And if they're catching them over there and we're not catching them here, it doesn't worry him.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is I see so many tournament anglers fall apart. So Tommy and I, if you haven't noticed, are quite close, and that sort of come about when I had a marriage split up when I was 14, and he come to live with me, and and he handled that probably better than I did. But we went through that together, and I was fishing the ABT at the time, and I said to him, what do you want to do? Do you want to fish the ABT, or do you want to just go and fish a bit of everything? We'll go and fish marlin and all that sort of stuff. And he said, no, let's go and do a bit of everything else. And we lost everything, and we had to start again in about 2017. I was working out of the back of my truck doing electrical work and that sort of stuff. And he was going to school, and he started working at North Coast Boating as an apprentice mechanic and all that sort of stuff. And I just said to him, we used to still do our little sorties away, barra fishing and that. And I said to him one day, I said, do you know who the best barra fisherman in Australia is? And he goes, no. And I said, it's you. You just don't realise it yet. And and he goes, oh, really? And I go, yeah. I said, we should go and do the ABT tournaments again. Yeah, so we went and started doing the ABT tournaments again. And the first thing that we realised that we were 90% there, but we're always doing those things that are wrong, not changing a bent hook or something like that. We'd always come second. So, and we got on top of that pretty quick, and he's pretty adaptive to the electronics, and we sort of worked out, we could make a pretty formidable team, and we got I think we got Team of the Year in a couple of times, and he come and work for me as well, and like he's a fabulous worker, and he's worked with me in the business now since 2019. So we've tried to do the ABT tour every year, but the business grew too much. So I just said, you go, and he hooked up with Josh from Samaki,
which has been a somewhat long time supporter of Tommy.
Oh yeah, and Josh and Kate have looked after him, like they help him out in America, and every bit along the way. I think Tommy made the Samaki Pink Reddick famous.
Very much so.
So and you talk to Josh, it's not only about a little sponsorship deal that he does with him. They're really good mates, so they've become really good close friends.
As when we spoke to him,
we spoke to him at AFTA.
After you could feel that they were like brothers.
He was quite excited about him getting over there and having that crack. So
And Josh is in his 40s, and he said every time I go away with Tommy, I feel like I'm 20 years older here. Much to Kate's detriment when he gets home, I'd imagine. So, so him and Josh did really well in the ABT tournaments. And Steve Morgan obviously seen a lot of potential in him and
Yes.
took him under his wing and
Yeah.
guided him as much as he could. Nicole's helped him out no end. You know, those people are fabulous. And if it wasn't for ABT in Australia,
Yes.
we wouldn't have that little stepping stone.
100%.
And you know, Nicole and Steve are just like, they, you know, ring him all the time, make sure he's going okay. Nicole's running his website for him, and I've got to get on the phone and urge him to get that work done.
Yeah.
You know, so there's so many people that, you know, help Tommy out the way, you know, like I remember when he was like 12 or 14, he was fishing in the tournament. He went fishing with Jason Ehrlich in one of the Barra tournaments, you know, and Jason was a great influence on him, you know, like all these great people that he's met along the way. There's so many of them. You know, I couldn't mention all the great people that he's met, and they've all you know, kept in contact with him and helped him along the way. Another guy from Gin, Terry Allwood, used to take him bass fishing and that when he was a kid, you know. And so yeah, he's got it, and now he's gone to America. He's just like got the gift of the gab. My God, he just meets these people and they fall in love with him.
He's got an aura over there, hasn't he? And I think
he's Fabio of Australia.
Americans love Australians. Like, I don't know, Trump and Albanese maybe not so much, but just in general,
they do.
They do, don't they? Like, there's a real. I remember years ago, I was. I might have been having a night out at Surfers, and I reckon there was about 30 Americans there, and I couldn't get away from them. Honestly, couldn't. They just loved it, and they're saying this and that, and you show us this, you show us that, and it's just like, righto, guys, I don't know what rock you've been under, but here, let's go do it this way. So
maybe you should put some hands on next time.
But getting back to that, like, how was the conversation about him going to the States? Like, I find that I don't know, if my child come to me and said, you know what, I'm going to the States to do this. And obviously, you know, it wasn't just a whim thing. He's progressively sort of done the steps here in Australia, right? And you know, to a point, like there's nearly a pathway, I guess, that Carl took. But where when he said this to you, what were your first thoughts? Were you like, hell yeah, hell no, I don't know about this? Where are we going to get the money from? You know, like what was going through your head?
Yeah, so this all started in 2019, and now we moved into the shed here at Coolum, and we only had, we're just putting food on the table, basically.
Yeah.
And the business has grown quite a lot since, but the Tommy said, you know, I still want to do the tournament thing in America. And my wife, who I married back in 2019, she's an ex-school teacher, and she's real organised, whereas I'm the ADHD mess of the whole thing. You know, I couldn't organise a ribbon brothel with a fistful of 50. So anyway, she said, right, we're going to write down all your goals and how we're going to achieve them. And so we did all this sort of stuff. And then we focused on the ABT tournament. So we thought we'll win the ABT tournaments first, and then we'll use that as a bit of a stepping stone. And, you know, Tommy was only young, so we were trying, like he wanted to buy cars and all that sort of stuff. And then we had to focus on saving money. And, you know, I bought a Pathfinder, a center console and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we got closer to the day, and then he went to America to watch the what was it?
The Bassmaster Classic.
The Bassmaster Classic
with P2. So Jerry that used to,
and Gussie.
And Gussie won. That's right.
That year.
Yes.
And he'd met Gussie and Carl previously at the ABT just before that. So and I was going to go with him, and I said, why don't you take the money from my ticket and just go and have a fish?
Yes.
And then Carl guided him a little bit, and then he went over there and he won Wheeler Lake as a non-boater. And that blew everybody out of the water, including me. And so then the goal was to come back and try and save some money. And like we were working 7 days a week trying to get all this shit show going. And I ended up selling my boat and everything I had. He sold his car. So we virtually sold everything we had
Yeah.
to get him there, and then we got him there, and so he arrived this year, and there was a lot of adversity straight up.
It's one thing that's I shouldn't say it's not funny, but the amount of like car and issues that he's had, like boats and everything else, is quite phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you just don't see behind the scenes of what these anglers go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and possibly, you know, a lot of these guys, like have got wealthy parents or something like that, or have made a few bucks and they're doing it on the side, sort of thing.
Yes, that's right.
But you know, Tommy went over there, and we thought we were going to buy a boat and a car, and he met this guy at the Classic called Kyle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Kyle?
Yes, yeah. I think we've spoken about Kyle in previous discussions. Yes.
So Kyle is a legend. So Tommy doesn't know him from Barra. So comes up to him, meets him at the Classic. Anyway, so Kyle's helping him get organised to get over there and that. And Kyle says, "Oh, look, bugger it, you can just take my boat." And I thought, what an absolute legend. So Kyle's Canadian, so you know he's a good guy. Anyway, so that worked out all fabulous. Anyway, so you know, and Tommy's all ready to go, and he's all psyched up, ready to go. And he, you know, the last thing he said to me, "Oh, geez, I hope I get to see some snow when I get there." Anyway, so he goes there, and the first tournament he goes to is like -4. There's snow on the boat, and he's going, "Oh, this is fabulous." And then he worked out it wasn't that much fun.
It wasn't that great.
Yeah, but thank God for his buck and bass gear, and he didn't have anything. Like you tell Tommy, "Oh, you know, it's going to be cold." He took a jumper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he grew up pretty quick there, and I think it was a couple of tournaments later. I just watched Twister, this movie on Netflix, which was hopeless anyway. But I knew he was going to this spot where these twisters were coming.
Yeah, Tornado Alley. Yeah.
Anyway, so I rang him up and I told him about this Netflix thing, and I told him about how the guy got sucked out of the car and all this sort of stuff, and he was a mangled mess. Anyway, so I said, when you go to this next tournament next week, just be careful of twisters. Anyway, so he rings me up and he goes, "Oh, Dad, I was just out in the water, and the bloody alarm was going off in the background, and this guy comes down out of the house to his dock out the front of his house, and he says, 'Mate, you better get off the water. There's a twister coming.'" So he was staying in this house with a couple of American friends that he'd met, and they had a bunker in the house next door. So I think it hit like 20 or 30 miles away from him. So they were very lucky, you know. He's like a Labrador. He just breezes his way through.
Yeah. Mate, I was just going to throw in a quick question there. What were your thoughts on the whole deportation scenario that got thrown at him?
I just think it was bad luck, you know. Like it is what it is. And apparently Hawaii's the worst for that area. So that's why he's been flying through Fiji now.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it was just a bit of bad luck. And he got the wrong girl on the wrong day. So it cost him an extra 20 grand of his money to get back there. But there was this fabulous lawyer that put his hand up in the United States who was a bass fishing nut. And he said he'd help him out, and he did. And there was a lot of shit to go through here. So another American that stuck their hand up. There's just been so many of them. And then, so he got back there. You know, it was just another chink in the armor, so to speak. And then he, you know, the adversity started with the snow, and then breakdowns and the car breaking down and all this sort of stuff. You know, and it was like, it was tear-jerking stuff on the phone. And when he went up to New York State, where he fished that, I can't even remember. Yeah, he was up there, and the car was in limp mode.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm talking to him because I just look at this app where I can see where he is, and if he's on the road, I'll ring him up in the middle of the night.
Yep.
And and you know, and then he gets a flat tire, and then he gets out in the water and things go wrong. And this last one that he just went to at Michigan, you know, we had everything working fine. And so the car's running. He spent a few bucks on the car, and he's driving along, and he rings me up Saturday morning in Australia, and it was last Saturday, I think it was.
Yes.
And he rings me up, and he goes, "Oh, Dad, the car's gone in limp mode again. There's air busting out." And I go, "I know exactly what that is. That's an intercooler hose. I had it happen on the Blackwatch years ago."
Yep.
And I said, "I'll get on Google." I walked out the front of the store. I've typed in Mercedes, the type of motor, and the hose. And I rang him back and I said, "It'll be this hose. It's under the steering wheel side of the car. Just jump under there." And he looked into there and he goes, "No, that's fine." I said, "Pull the hose clamp off," and there was a hole in under the hose clamp.
Okay.
Yeah, so that all got going. Anyway, so he had a good day. First day I think he got 18 pounds, and some of the top boats got 21 pounds.
Yep.
And I thought, yeah, that's really cool. And I always give him a little pep talk before he goes out. And
he doesn't say righto, Dad, righto, Dad. He takes it all in.
No. We're actually really close like that. It's not
okay.
Like, yeah. I don't talk down to him at all. He's really, really cool. And he's anyway, so he goes out. Yeah, so the next morning I've given him his pep talk and all that, and I'm just about to go to bed, and it's like 10 o'clock at night, and he's just taken off, and he's rung me, and he sent me a photo of the Minn Kota hanging off the front.
I was about to say the electric motor bloody hanging off.
Yeah. And then I seen the prop on the deck, and it had like a triangle piece out of it, and I thought, oh, that must have been the one that hit when Kyle broke. Anyway, so I rang him up, and I said, I didn't ring him. I texted him and I said, "Don't worry about it. Just do what you can. Just get on with it and just fish. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
So I didn't sleep all that night, and I was just a nervous wreck. I thought, oh, he's gone all this way. The bloody door's half closed on him again. And anyway, so my wife Sarah wakes me up in the morning. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, and she goes, "Oh, I'm going to turn the telly on and see how Tommy's going." And I go, "I don't want to know."
Yeah.
And she said she had a look at the bass track thing, and he had 13 pounds. And I just thought, oh, fuck. I was just like, oh, my God. And anyway, he ends up 2 minutes I'm watching TV. You usually have to wait 2 hours for him to come up on the TV. So he comes straight up on the TV. I'm still laying in bed. And here he is. He goes up and he's got 16 pounds. And I'm going, bullshit. And they put him straight in that 8th place. And,
with a busted electric motor.
Yeah. So what he told me he did was he just went over to this spot where he caught some fish on frogs. That was out of the wind, and he had one pole that was working, the other one wasn't. So he had one pole down, and he tied down the electric motor. So he got his 5, and then he went out to the deep, and then he tried to life scope. If you could imagine the Minn Kota's on a 20-degree angle off 90. And it's and he's trying to life scope with that, but he got a 16-pound bag. So he was pretty wrapped of that, and ended up with 12th place. He got a little bit of a kick in his account.
Especially through that adversity too. And look, he in that qualifying sense for the Bass Opens, he's right, isn't he?
Double qualified.
Yeah,
double qualified, which is good because then he kicks another person out that he doesn't need to beat. And there's quite a few of them like Sam Hangy and all that have done the same, which might reduce the field a bit.
Yes.
But, the one thing that Tommy has learnt to deal with this year is adversity. And he knows that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So, and that's a life lesson you can't teach someone.
No. And look, that's a pretty positive thing. Now, one guy that he's been hanging with that's just recently been on the show that's a pretty positive fella is Byron. Like, them guys would be sort of pretty close over there in the States, 2 Australians kicking around doing Bass Opens.
Yeah, or Byron was over there at Wheeler Lake when he won the non-boater thing.
Yeah, that's right.
So Byron was in that, and he got a few photos. And Byron's been into the shop here. He had trouble with his Garmin Force years ago, so I sort of met him before then. And then so Tommy was in a world of hurt when he got up to New York State. Car was in limp mode. Things were going wrong, shit like this. And anyway, Byron said, I'll catch up with you tonight. And Byron didn't arrive until late. And Byron's story is that he never said anything to me, but he said, I turned up at Tommy's and all the lights were out. So he said, I dropped in some plastics into his boat.
Yep.
And then he sent Tommy a text. Oh, sorry, mate, I missed you. I dropped some lures and some little plastics in. That'll be good, for this type of fishing. Anyway, we never thought anything. And Tommy goes down to the boat the next day, and there's $900 cash that Byron's dropped off for him. And I thought that was a lovely gesture.
No, he's a good dude, really good dude.
Yeah. So that was really nice of him. So that's
Yeah.
a good Byron story, that one.
Yeah.
And it's real positive. But today I was talking to Tommy, and he's on top of the world.
Yeah.
And he's really in good spirits.
Yeah.
And he went fishing with Jacob Wheeler.
Right.
So he's been around the Wheeler's place, which is apparently a mansion on the lake.
It would be Mr. Apollo himself.
Yeah. And so they had a day out in the lake together. Tommy did have a previous experience fishing with Jacob at Kinchin after the ABT.
I was about to say here in Australia when they went barra fishing. Yeah.
So they had a bit of a thing there. So and Jacob has just been an unbelievable mentor, and he's just given him a whole. He said, "Dad, I couldn't tell you all the stuff that he's just told me, but he said, do this, don't do this, do this, do this."
Yeah.
So, So also long phone calls with Carl.
Of course.
They're always talking, and Carl's always boosting his confidence, and Gussie as well.
Yeah.
And actually, it was funny, a little story, because Tommy hasn't heard much of him, and they haven't heard anything from Tommy, and they're on a chat group together, and Tommy forgot to tell him his new number when he went over this time. So they're being saying, best of luck, Tommy, and all that sort of stuff before the tournament. Well done. He hasn't heard anything of it. So they're just going, regards, Tommy Wood.
How is it though, like to have like Bass Royalty on your side, helping you out, sending you messages, so just some hammers, you know what I mean? Like over there, just on your son's side, you know what I mean? Like that's phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah, he keeps opening doors for himself. I've got to give him that. He had that trouble with his boat. Carl introduced him to the guys at Hennessy.
Yeah,
they did $12,000 worth of work on his boat to get it running again, and they gave him 2 power poles for nothing, which were like second-hand ones.
Yep.
And and didn't charge him a thing, and gave him best wishes and all that sort of stuff. I thought, what a fabulous team!
Wow,
to be able to do that.
Look, I'm not taking anything away from the Australian fishing community or tournament community for that matter, but like that's just amazing that a community can do that and help someone like that out. You know what I mean? Like that's just amazing.
Yeah. And that seems to be the endless sort of scenario for Tommy. Like he's met this guy like Jack York. There's a whole list of them, anglers who he's fishing against, and they bunk up together. They get an Airbnb, and Tommy, they pay $500 each for an Airbnb for the week, and Tommy will pay $250 because he parks his van outside, but he uses the amenities.
Yeah,
and it's a great little community, and they get to talk about what's working and not what not is working, and it's like there's probably about 20 or 30 people that are just behind him over there, and everywhere he goes, there's no shortage of people that are just willing to put their hand up and say, "Hey, Tom, do you want a hand?" Like, how about the Mercer podcast?
100%.
Tommy Wood. Like, that is just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and that's great. And it was great that he got on there, because I just think a lot of American fishermen or listeners just would have listened to that, and I reckon they would have fallen in love with him.
Oh, well, they have, and he's I think he's grown his Facebook by about 8,000 people. So
there you go.
Crazy. Yeah.
We grow one a month, don't we?
Yeah. We're happy with that.
Yeah. That's only because I get my Facebook hacked. And like you said about the Australian community, like we got a great
we do
group of anglers.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of those guys actually offer Tommy some money on the side, and a lot of them did some training with him. And that, you know, you know, there's a lot of people out here that are behind the scenes, you know, give him a little bit of cash here and there.
Yeah.
And, you know, the tournament fisher guys are, you know, 100% behind him. The whole thing with, you know, like going to Italy and all that, like he's met a whole group of people through that.
Yeah. And we've sort of been covering that, obviously, up until the lead up as well. But yeah, it'd be great to see him and the other guys over there in the next few weeks, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I heard your podcast with Mitchell Cohen. That
yeah,
cool.
nice.
And so they're going there in 2 weeks, and Tommy's just getting psyched up for that. That's why Wheeler get touch base with him, because I put on Wheeler's Facebook. You know, they've got the American team, and they've got all the, you know, the big wigs there.
Of course.
Yeah, and I just put a little comment in on there. You know, the Aussies are going to kick your ass. and anyway, Tommy sends Wheeler a text and he goes, "I'm sorry for my dad."
Don't be sorry.
And he said, "Don't be sorry." He's exactly what he said. He said, "That's great." He said, "We love to see that sort of rivalry, you know, between the American and the Australian team."
Yeah.
You know, and the boys are a great group of anglers. And they, you know, the thing, like a lot of guys say, "Oh, you know, who picked them to go on the Australian team?" And, you know, you get all these big egos in this game. And you know, each one of those guys on that Australian team is a team player.
Yeah. You couldn't pick a better team if you wanted to. There's probably one other person that's not in that team that a lot of people would like to see in that, and that's probably Carl. But Australian-wise, with the experience and knowledge that those group of gentlemen have
produce,
and what they produce together, I don't think there's and that might upset a few people, but there's probably not someone else at the moment that could jump in there and gel with that group of guys and still be competitive the way they are.
Yeah, and you know what they did in Italy was like fantastic.
Amazing.
I was on the edge of my seat every night, or every morning, whatever it was, and you know I was texting Chris's wife and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on? Maybe take some videos.
She might have her hands more full this year. I think Chris mentioned that she's going to be back in there doing all the social stuff.
Yeah.
So
Miss Media.
how it goes.
That's fantastic, because what she did last year sort of made it. You know, they didn't have all the right gear and all that sort of stuff, but they really made it into something, a bit of a spectacle.
Yeah.
So, you know, I suppose that takes us to the next part. You know, what happens in Australia with, you know, angling. And, you know, for me, the big part about doing this podcast, if young people want to follow in Tommy's footsteps or Carl's footsteps, to be aware of the traps and, you know, how much money it's going to cost.
Well, that was going to lead me into my question. Because look, this isn't cheap. What he's done, and Carl for that matter. I guess what lessons have you learned, or Tommy as well, I suppose, throughout this process? What's been a few of the big key takeaways?
Well, one of the biggest key takeaways is probably how fabulous people are at helping out. So there was a lot of people that helped along the way, and I can't mention all of them, the Americans, the Australians, and all that sort of stuff. But there's no support network out there from, you know, any Australian sports identities or anything like that. Not identities, but groups.
Yes.
Like the Australian Institute of Sport or anything like that. And I think there probably should be something like that. If we can send rap dancers and skateboarders to be like
100%.
This has been something that keeps coming up on our podcast, especially when we're speaking with Byron. Coney mentioned it as well, and you've mentioned this now. It sort of seems to be a particular thing that is a trait that we want to see change, right?
Yeah. So angling is a sport that's sort of grown like since about 2000. I think early 2000s golf might have been one of the major sports in the world, but I think angling is like a major sport. Like it's a recreational sport, and it's the great thing about fishing is people can fish on any level and have a good time.
100%. 100%.
You can be the big dick with the marlin boat.
Yep.
And you can be a little kid fishing down the wharf with
fishing in a drain for bass, eh?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, it's got a long way to go. And Australia has some of the best fishing and some of the best anglers. And I think Morgan has created that, you know, with the whole tournament scene.
Yeah.
He's just created this industry. And I don't know of the tackle industry, if there's as much in it in Australia, or and I don't think the dams can support the big numbers of, you know, boats that go along. But you know, the sponsorship I suppose, and the money in the tournaments isn't enough to ever do it in Australia.
Of course.
Nah.
And I don't know if we're going to get with bums on seat. Like, I don't know if you guys remember the AFC. Like,
yeah.
Morgo says that cost millions, you know, to do.
It was a lot of money.
How fabulous was it?
Look, everyone loved it. Everyone loved it. And I think, look, I won't get into the too much of the end part of that, but look, when it was high flying back in the day, like, everyone loved it, and it obviously got onto mainstream TV. Got big sponsors as well, which was really great, and a good effort done by Morgo and Co. But you know, it's one of them things where, and I've said this before on this podcast, is that, you know, these sorts of things, we can only rely on the fishing industry all so much. There is bigger corporate people out there that with a lot more money. And I don't think we give ourselves enough credit of what we can market potentially. And what I mean by that is that we've got travelling billboards running around the countryside. We have, I guess, two idiots like us, bloody talking fishing. You know, we have Steve, like, you know, even from an ABT or QFFT or some sort of tournament series that, you know, we always appreciate the tackle industry always putting in, because they know that there's something that will come back out for them. It's sort of like that thing. But I honestly think that there are bigger companies out there, and I've sort of utilised it a little bit from, and not I say big companies, but other businesses that have nothing to do with fishing, right? That are willing to forego sponsorship money in return of these sort of travelling billboards. And the idea, I think, sell the idea of fishing. Everyone loves fishing, some level of fishing, to get out on the water and have a great time. So I think there's more work for us to probably do in that respect, with government funding as well. We're not including that. Like I think the Australian Institute of Sport, or New South Wales, or whatever you want to call it, like you say, if we've got break dancers going around being flogs, surely we can have a couple of blokes with fishing rods out there. And then obviously what that's doing is setting up the next generation for it.
Yeah, I think that's something that's got to happen. You know, there's a lot of fishing clubs around Australia.
Yeah.
There's game fishing clubs, and, you know, bass fishing, all the different types anyway. But like every club that I've been involved with, there's always some sort of idiot in there that wrecks it for everyone. But yeah, there's no sort of affiliation between the clubs, and I think that's probably what needs to happen. You know, the Australian Game Fishing Association, you know, the ABT, the whatever clubs around there, you know, the Boondooma Dam Stocking Association, the Massa, and all that. I think, you know, if we could get like some sort of unity between those clubs, would be a starting process, and then we could build out of that.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting, and like one thing that I sort of started doing some ABTs, I think around about 2012 or whatever, for memory. And back then, you know, there was the Tournament Angler Guide, and back then there was a lot of team series as well, and it all sort of worked around each other, you know. So the calendar fitted in with everyone else's schedule in that tournament thing, and I think that really grew the sport, because, you know, one weekend it was Gamkatsu team series, next weekend it was ABT, the other weekend it was bets, and then, you know, it just sort of rolled around in that respect. You know, obviously you had the Barra Tour and all the rest of it as well, but because that was sort of all working in together, I think guys are like, oh, we can go away 3 times a week to go fishing versus the one, or have 3 comps on the one weekend, right? And I think that really favoured I think people would be able to pick and choose and work through and get out on the water more over time. And obviously when COVID hit, it sort of, the landscape become a little bit different. And it's not just with fishing. I think that was with all sports as well. So how we sort of pick that up back to them, I sort of nearly consider them glory days, right? But how we get it back to that point, I'm not sure, and I don't know if I'm the right person to make any more comments about that. But I think corporate sponsorship has a bit to do with it.
Yeah, I think we have one of the best ambassadors working in the media. Media productions, and that is Steve Morgan. And we can't rely on him. He's getting in his 50s now. Another 10 years, he'll be ready to retire. But we need sort of guys like him who are sort of industry heads to probably team up with people that can do it. But we all have our lives and our businesses, and it's pretty hard, I suppose. And we, as Australians, we can take it a bit easy at times, I suppose, and just go, it's too bloody hard.
Yeah. I look, I'm going to make myself probably a mudgudgeon here in saying this, but it's somewhat true. However, they really accommodate each other well over in the States, and that is YouTube, right? So I think back to 2012, there was no YouTube. Everyone was sort of following what tournament anglers were doing. As that transition went through to YouTube, rightfully or wrongfully, fishing companies invested more money in content creation, which I guess a lot of tournaments anglers in Australia weren't, or not willing, but sort of didn't really want to throw their hand at it as much. Where in the States, I think when you get to that bigger level, like there's just a nearly an expectation, really, that is part of your get together as a pro angler.
Oh, I think Jacob Willis set the bar there too. He's just a machine. Like he's got his own photographer, and he doesn't stop from daylight to dark. He's just an amazing man. He'd be successful in anything he does.
Yeah.
But I think with the YouTube in Australia, I think it's been detrimental to fishing in a lot of ways, because it's created all these little egos and stuff, and they can be a little bit competitive on Facebook and YouTube, and he's a wanker, and he's a wanker, and everybody's just trying to do their own thing. I think what it does open up is some really classic fishing. Like, geez, you see some great spots and you go, I'm going to go there. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what the future of fishing in Australia will be. But I tell you what, when I retire, when I hang up my my little work boots, I'm going to sort of try and do something about it, I'm sure. So, but I don't know where we go from there.
I guess talking about hanging up the work boots, we better give you a business to plug while we're having a bit of a yarn here. So tell us a little bit about the business.
Oh, please don't, because it's too busy already. I got boats hanging out of my arse. I got Tommy overseas, and Tommy's
pretty handy on the
Zach
tools.
Yeah, I'm back on the tools, and Zach's away in Bali at the moment.
Okay.
So, and no, honestly, our business has grown thanks to Garmin, and Garmin probably have been a huge supporter of Tommy as well.
Massive, 100%.
And our business has grown on the back of Garmin, and we're going really well. So we sell all over Australia, and we do a lot of boat fit outs here on the Sunshine Coast. They come from Brisbane. They come from all over, actually.
Massive shout out from Garmin.
My live scope was in the ProCraft, was put in by Tommy.
There you go.
Oh, was it? There you go.
Yeah, no, I didn't pay for it to be done. I bought a boat from
someone that had done it.
Done up Noosa from you guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say the warranty runs out as soon as he gets around the roundabout.
Oh yeah, no, it's the only bit of wiring in the boat that hasn't fucked up, so it's doing well.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, no, business has been good, and it's a great game to be in. The fishing tackle industry, just what was that after was amazing. But the electronics has gone through the roof.
Yeah.
and this new live scope fishing that's been around for the last 3 or 4 years and has really created some upset in the US and a little bit at home here too. It's been a great way for young anglers to learn more about fishing. It's sort of a lot of the older guys still say, oh yeah, but they don't even know how to throw a B-52 around and all that sort of shit. But really it's great to use a thing that you can see under the water. You can see how your lure works. You can see how the fish reacts to your lure.
100%.
Yeah, and I was a guide for like 12 years, doing monitoring and offshore and that sort of stuff. And 95% of the shit that I knew was bullshit. like there's 5%, like that was probably tying a few knots.
Yeah,
honestly, it's just live scope has just shown barra fishing for what it is. And then Wheeler comes out here and shows us how to do it, shaking the minnow.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
It's just like the live scope is unreal. But Tommy and I went out to Emerald about a year ago, and we're out there catching these big horses. Oh my God, they're big out there. They only get to about 123, 124.
Only.
But but they're they're like 8 inches wide. They're 1.5 feet high, and we're out there catching them out there, and you just we never would have caught those fish without the live scope. We went and fished the fish on the edge, and it was it wasn't happening. But if we had live scope, it was good. So it does open up a few places like that, but. Every now and then, like Tommy and I just look at each other. Let's go and fish the edge for a while, and we'll just go and cast some lures. There's nothing better than casting an edge and you're talking and you're chilling out. And you've got the electric cruising along the bank, and then you cast it, and bang, you're on, and the thing jumps out of the water, and you just go, oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. That's living.
Yeah. No, that's it.
Yeah. No, so that's. Yeah, and it's a bit of a shame all that controversy in the US, but progress is progress. Like
I think one side of that, I mean, like that's been fed by the Daft Punk, but he's made a name, I think, for himself because I didn't really know him before that, but. I might get in trouble in saying that, but look, it is what it is. I think it's a great learning tool, right? And look, we had, it would have been like our 4th or 5th episode. Should you buy a live scope? And the thing that come out of that is that if you don't like it, don't buy it, and don't rubbish anyone that's got it. That was the two fundamental things that we got out of that yarn. And so and I still sort of say that to you today. If you don't want all the electronics, that's fine. Just go ahead and fish the way that you like to fish, because fishing doesn't need anything. It just needs a hand line, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. And I think the real division in live scoping comes from the frigging cost. Like, it is expensive.
Yeah.
If
100%.
you want to do it right, like you're spending $10,000 or $20,000 on a tinny to go barra fishing. It's just like it's ludicrous when you think about it.
Yeah. No, it is a lot of money, and
but it is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah. But anyhow, it is one of them things, and cost does have a lot to do with it, which it sort of forces people to make them sort of negative opinions as well. But I think at the end of the day, if you can afford it, if you can do it, if you want it, just get it. If not, I'm pretty sure I still caught fish when I didn't have it. So as simple as that.
I can't fish without an electric motor.
Yes,
I need spot lock more than I need live scope.
I need an electric motor. Yep.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I used spot lock. I hardly ever use it. But if you think about Mondrian, like is like the number one barra fishing spot in Australia at the moment, and everybody's live scoping up there. The sad thing, and even with the cod fishing, I went down cod fishing at Copeton, not very well actually. Tommy caught them all, I didn't. Anyway, but the thing that you're starting to notice is how pissed off these fish are with lures now. You can see that they're getting a bit jaded by the whole thing, getting lures thrown at them, where it was sort of you're casting lures before, and it was like, a 1 in a million chance that one was going to swim past or be on that stump or lay down or whatever. But now they're getting continuous hits all the time with these bloody lures landing beside them, and they've just had a gutful of it.
Yeah. It's actually a pretty interesting point because, when I've done a little bit of fishing, mainly like pontoon fishing, like for brim, just to back it back a bit, is that some days you can put it right next to them. Other days you got to put it like, 1.5 meters away from them. In both them times, they might swim down with it, but they will not take it. Other times they might just mouth it, and other times they'll hit the water and they'll move straight to it and commit. So it's so many different sort of variables away from having live scope. But you're right. You're sort of taking out is there a fish there? Is there not a fish there? And no matter how good your live scope unit is, if they're not going to bite, they're not going to bite it.
No, can't make them open their mouth.
Yeah, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I attribute this. I always attribute fish like women. To please a fish is like trying to please a woman. Pretty hard to do.
Queensland bass, mate. Queensland bass.
Yeah. I just imagine what those big 10-pound South African ones are going to be like.
I hope the boys are getting psyched for that. I know that we are.
There's crocodiles in that bloody thing too.
Is there?
Yeah, don't fall out of the boat, boys. There's crocs.
Really?
Yeah.
And there's probably bloody hippos and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, nah.
And Tommy's going to be like Barbie in the back of the car because apparently they're going through one of the national parks looking at all the animals. And my wife just said to Mitchell Kane the other day, she said, make sure Tommy keeps his arms in.
No toilet breaks, please. No pissing beside the tree.
Because he's just that sort of guy. There was a funny little post he put up the other day. He'd seen his first raccoon, and as he pulls up the side of the road, he sees a couple of bears, and I can just see him, seeing this lioness laying in the grass. She looks tighter.
I'll just give a pat. Righto, Rob. We're probably going to wind that up there now. I think we've nearly been going for about an hour or so. But look, on behalf of Bo and myself, thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it. It was a great insight into, I guess, the upbringing of Tommy, and obviously, as his father, very influential in helping him get to the States and obviously achieving his goals. So thank you very much.
Oh, no, it was great. It's great. And I'm just grateful that you guys are good listeners, I suppose, because I think we did too much talking.
No. We were sort of hanging on everything that you're saying. So, look, we appreciate that, and we'll talk to you soon.
Righto, mate. I'll talk to you soon. P1 and P2 out.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Everyone, all right, that was Rob Wood, Tommy's old man. What a cracking yarn that was, wasn't it?
Oh, how good was that? You guys were in for a treat with that one.
Yeah. Great insight too, as with his upbringing. And I guess one thing I got out of that was just, Tommy's quite a resilient bloke. And like we've seen it, what's happened this year over in the States with him. And, he just sort of just rolls with it. And, he's coming out on top. He's qualified 2 ECs. I was just talking to P2 there today, and he could be within the top 10 after the next round. So hopefully it all works out for him. But obviously he's got to go smash some bass over in the South America. South Africa.
South Africa. He's got to do it for the green and gold first.
Yeah.
Then he can go back to the motherland and finish doing his dream. But he's got the weight of a nation on his shoulders for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. So, look, righto, guys. I think we'll end that up there.
Yeah, we'll wrap that up there for this week.
And look, you've been listening to the Two Pelicans. I'm Mick.
I'm Bo.
And we are the Two Pelicans. Chook out.